try to communicate to you some concerns that are very heavy concerns. That I believe, one reason I want to share them is because I feel I own that from the background that we have. But also because I think every one of us in this room need to be prepared for what's coming in several dimensions. I think you and I are going to experience in the next 12 to 30 months the biggest opportunity for ministry of our lifetimes. But we need to understand it's happening. We need to be prepared for it. And that's not good news. It's painful news, but it's essential. So bear with me on this. You probably, from our materials, you've already heard me about talking about making linear assumptions in a nonlinear world. What do I mean by a linear assumption? The presumption that tomorrow will be like yesterday. That next week will be like last week. Next month like last month. Next year like last year. There's a tendency to extrapolate, to extend linearly. Because that's so true so much for so many things, we tend to operate on linear assumptions. Okay, that's understandable. Except as we stand back from life, we know that life is full of non-linearities. You get fired from your job, you weren't expecting that. That's a huge non-linearity. You have medical non-linearities. You suddenly discover you've got some serious thing that needs attention. You're not expecting it, but those things happen. There are political non-linearities. We've experienced some of those recently. There are financial non-linearities, and we could go through the whole list. Okay? Financial non-linearity, that's when your wife goes to the mall. The challenges of 2011 is one of the things I want to touch on. And I want to touch on what may be the most significant day in 2011. And I'm not talking about the rapture. The rapture occurs in eclipse everything I'm saying. In fact, let's hope it happens before I finish. There's some other issues I want to bring to your attention. 2011, this year that we're in right now, promises to be probably the most challenging year of our lifetimes. It would be my desire, in fact my hope, that I'm wrong. At the same time, as part of being a messenger, is to tell you what it looks like. Not with certainty, but with just a great perspective. Non-linearities are compounding on the horizon, and it's going to test our preparations and our commitment to our callings. I asked you a moment ago how many of you are saved. We got that answer. Let me ask you a different question. How many of you feel that you've been called to be a disciple of Christ? That's exciting. If it's a well-considered call. Praise God. There's a difference, in my mind at least, from being saved and being called. All this technically, presumably are called, but do you feel, are you responding to the call? It's a different kind of question. Now, most Americans that I've seen are totally oblivious to a forthcoming day, which may turn out to be the most important day, administratively speaking, of this year. So what's our predicament? One of our predicaments is what I'm going to call the deindustrialization of America. We have chosen to hand the challenges of production to others, and then to survive by borrowing to support our lifestyle. The United States has become a consumer, not a producer. Yeah. How can you do that? By borrowing. And our lives, moment to moment, day by day, virtually all of us, depend on our ability to borrow from foreigners to keep it up. And that day is ending. Now, we also have this, we know that the main problem in America is there's too much debt. And we're trying to solve that problem by adding more debt. What's wrong with this picture? It doesn't take a genius to say something's wrong with this picture. We already have too much debt. And now that we're simply printing money to pay our debts, oblivious to the limitations of this as a practice which is fraudulent and it's deceitful to everyone involved. Okay. A third element, the grim reaper of failed policies is afoot, and a day of reckoning is coming. And my point is that day is coming sooner than most people, including the professional managers, realize. That might sound very arrogant, but if you take a look at the data, it's pretty clear. We touch on that. And so this ability, all of us sort of presume that the Federal Reserve, can print as fast as the machines will print. They can do that only because the dollar is the reserve currency. When the dollar ceases to be reserve currency, they can't do that anymore. And they've got themselves in a giant box canyon. We'll talk about that a little bit. And the cataclysmic destruction is going to be very turbulent. I haven't met anyone that can really lay out what actually is going to happen, but the rule books are out the window. So, see, we get confused here. We know that the S&P 500 has rallied 75% since early 2009. That's a true story. Is that going to, most of the experts feel that will continue at least into the mid-year. I sure hope so. Because I've got some real estate I'm going to try to sell between now and summer. Gordon thinks that'll help my voice. I think that I finished an 8-city speaking tour with Waleed Shahbat. I went to Australia and New Zealand, and I lost my voice. And Waleed kept accusing me of doing a Richard Harris imitation. So I thought my voice was coming back. I don't think it's serious. It's just a question of some rest. See, on the one hand, the news are full of positive things. There's a recovery starting. Is it really? No. Gold, which is classically the anti-dollar indicator, has been telling us for 10 straight years that a crisis is coming. Gold was around $252 an ounce in the summer of 1999. It's now about $13.50 an ounce. So it's up 5-fold against the U.S. dollar. See, the dollar is now, the question is how high can gold go. The question is how down can the dollar go. And so that's not a very good commitment to the world's reserve currency. So what I'd like to do right now is just flash through some facts. And I'm not interested in building a model here. I just want to get a perspective. The industrialization, let's start with that. America was on the forefront of the Industrial Revolution back when that was going on. It was America that showed the world how to mass produce anything from automobiles to television sets to airplanes, whatever. That's what gave America strength. Yeah. And it was the great American manufacturing base that crushed Germany and Japan during World War II. That's just a practical summary of recent history that many of us have close proximate enough to remember. Let's take a look at where we are today. The unemployment in America is now 20%, over 20%. Now you won't find that in the press because they lie. The chicanery the government uses is to not count all kinds of excuses. And the official number is about 10%, but that's a lie. And most professional managers know that because they understand the dynamics there. In America right now, nationally, 1 out of 5 is out of work. Okay? And that's because, I'm going to get into all the chicanery, that's another discussion. This shocked me to discover the United States has lost approximately 42,000 factories since 2001. These aren't factories that have reduced employment, they're factories that have shut down. 42,400 of those in 2001. About 75% of those employed over 500 people when they were still in operation. In 1959, manufacturing represented 28% of U.S. economic output. In 2008, it's 11.5%. You see the difference? The United States has lost a whopping 32% of its manufacturing jobs since the year 2000. These are jobs that are lost permanently. They're not going to come back because of unions, taxes. It's not fruitful to try to reopen those plants. At the end of 2009, less than 12 million Americans worked in manufacturing. Last time there were less than 12 million Americans employed in manufacturing was in 1941. This is just a picture of America today in those terms.